Dr. Stan Harris, known as Dr. Breakthrough. I always give a disclaimer. I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. However, when people follow the breakthrough prescription, God Almighty provides the breakthrough they desire and deserve. And a breakthrough, what is it? It's exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. Hey, get ready, my friend. I've got a special guest today. I believe somebody is going to have what I call a bumblebee breakthrough. Wait a minute. You said, what's a bumblebee breakthrough? Well, I'm glad you asked. See, aerodynamically, it's impossible for the bumblebee to fly. See, his wings are too small in proportion to his body. His body's too big. But guess what? The bumblebee doesn't believe that, so he flies anyway. And some of you, in spite of what they told you, oh, you'll never be able to do that. You can't. In spite of what your own self-mind's been accusing yourself, you're going to break through, especially when you hear our guest today. Oh my goodness, he's got some powerful things to tell you and share with you how to make an extra 9K to 90K or more in 90 days or less. And I always give the same foundation. The first day I came up with this, by the way, Thomas, a friend of mine, the first guy I mentored years ago spiritually and also in the martial arts, and also mentored him, was one of his professors in Bible college, and he quit, but we forgave him because he went on to make millions and helped a lot of people. But he was speaking here in Dallas, and he had called me a couple of days before and said, Doc, come on down if you can. Well, the first day I was busy, was able to go. The second day I said, hey, I'm doing this new training. It's called How to Make Extra 9K to 90K in 90 days or less. I'll be there as soon as I'm done. Well, Thomas, I did the training. Everything seemed great. People told me, oh, this is powerful. This really helped me. One guy said, I'm 73, never heard anything like this in my life. One of the best presentations. And I was feeling pretty good. Drove down there to hear my friend Myron. 48 years we've been friends. I sat there for about an hour and a half, and he allowed people that want to take his high-level coaching program. And I watched him in front of my face make $970,000 in an hour and a half. He wanted me to come up to his room afterwards. So we went up there. I said, Myron, don't laugh at me, man. But I was feeling pretty good because I'm teaching people how to make extra 9K to 90K or more in 90 days or less. And here you make like 970,000 in an hour and a half. He said, well, wait a minute, Doc. Didn't you say 9K to 90K or more? I said, yeah. He said, well, 970,000 is more. And you said in 90 days or less? Yeah. He said, well, hour and a half is less. So that was confirmation that it can be done. It was being done. But guess what? It's being done by people all over in different industries. So Thomas DuBois, this guy, wait till you hear this guy. Now, he's not like, I know to some of you, I'm a little over the top. Thomas is a little more even keel, like his.
I don't know about all that, but
But anyway, hey, he's had great success in life. And my friend, like all of us, he's had some bumps and bruises, but guess what? He just keeps getting back up and doing bigger and better things. So, Thomas, listen, I've heard Carl told me some amazing things about you. Have you ever had a time in your life where you've made a extra 9,000 or 90,000 in 90 days or less?
absolutely. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well,
More
share,
than once. More than once.
yeah, share a little bit.
Okay. I am in an industry that some love or some hate, and that's okay too. But I'm in an industry of building people,
Come on.
and yep, and building teams, and so I have my very first success. About 25 years ago, I met this guy. His name was Jesus Christ. I don't know, but he took my messed up life and he turned me around, set me on some solid ground. And he introduced me to entrepreneurialism 3 years into my sobriety. So my claim to fame is sobriety. And from my relationship with Christ, I was introduced to success in entrepreneurialism. And so network marketing is the industry that I have been successful in, able to multiple times keep increasing in the productivity and the value that I can bring to others and to myself through the years of that industry. And I think I made my first 9,000 in 90 days about 20 years ago. And then when I met Carl, who you mentioned, when I met Carl is one of the bigger successes, and that was 48,000 in 3 weeks. And
Wow.
so,
Wait, wait,
when you
wait, wait,
start
wait,
something
wait,
like
wait,
that,
wait, wait,
you
wait,
start to change things,
wait,
right?
wait. You said that too fast. Like somebody was probably trying to listen, because some people are still trying to wrap their, because they're like, Doc, it's just summertime, everything's down. I'm like, I know that's why you got to break up, right?
Yeah.
You just
Yep.
say 48,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was it was the first time I got into the cryptocurrency space and network marketing together. And you probably know of the company. And
Yes, I used to travel and speak and train for them.
yes, and so so that company back then, Greg Knox still has in his phone 48,000 first month or so, or 45,000 first month on my name when he pulls it up in his phone. But but I didn't do anything special, at all. I literally made everybody else that was understood the industry my expert. And I literally played a 5 minute video for people, called somebody else, got them on the phone, and everybody else knew more than me. But I didn't need my brain. Of course, I started to learn and started to get, but from their questions is how I learned this whole industry that I'm in today.
Wow, wow, that's so powerful. And by the way, that's one of the things that people don't understand. So let me back up first of all to what you said
Yeah.
about. I always tell people now, again, I tell people I'm not a network marketer per se, but rather I'm a networker that leverages marketing like my master,
Yes.
Jesus. And you're right. He
Amen.
took 12 and turned the whole world upside down, sent them out two by two, and one of them was a devil. So yeah,
And we're
right.
still duplicating today.
Right. And so, and when you met, when we met, I'd written a book, How to Build a Big Team Fast, and I speak for a lot of different companies. And that company had hired me to go around the U.S. and empower people with my speaking and coaching and the books and so forth and help people. But you're so right though, because what you did was so wise and so powerful. Because I teach a whole lesson, Thomas. That's what stops people from being successful. They want to be the deal, right? And I'm like, no, if you want to know, I ask people, how in the world do you ever build a team so big and go to top of 7 different companies? I said, easy. I teach people this simple thing. If you can point, you can get paid, right?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
learned to do like you, Tom. I just learned to point. And like I said, point to the tools, point to other people, point to the system, right? And that's what you, and so I applaud that because Thomas, you are doing it the way that makes it duplicatable.
That's
So that
right.
everybody's not, see, because again, people have a tendency to look at people like you and I like, oh, well, I could never do that, right? But if we're saying, no, it's so simple. I'm not the hero. That's the hero. The system's
Right.
the hero. The company's the hero. The video's the hero. Just do what I do. Do the same thing. And that
Right.
reminds me of one of the quote unquote the great network marketers of the past who said, man, he got started and he started. All he would do is back then we had VHS, right? He's showing the VHS. Thomas, he would just invite people over his apartment and show that, and people would join, right? And then after a while,
Yep.
he'd seen it so many times, he's like, I got it. So then he invited him over. He wouldn't play the thing. He would do the presentation.
Yep.
And his numbers started going down. And he's scratching his head like, I don't understand. And so he found out that one of his people, one of his top people said to him, when you were just playing the VHS, every time I bought one of my guests, they said to me when we left, oh, I could do that. But now when you do the presentation, they're like, I can't do that. So the duplication stopped. So Thomas, man,
Yes.
I applaud you, man, for not, because so many times we let our ego get in the way and we're like, no, I want to be the guy. I want to know it all. I want them to come to me. And you're like, no, I want them to get what they need. And again, I'll learn, but why not learn why you earn? And as a matter of fact,
Yes.
the way you did it, you started earning faster than you learned. So, hey,
Yep.
Thomas, keep on going, man. I got to be quiet. Let you talk.
Well, I call it fire ready aim.
Come on now.
you know Fire ready aim. Somebody gives the idea, they have the idea, they're the expert, and I take it and run with it and let other people make a wise decision for themselves if they want to join me or they want to wait. And
Wow.
90% of the time, those that want to wait regret waiting and come running.
Wow.
And when they do come running with me, though, that's okay. That's okay, because we'll get them success when they're ready or when the time is. But I do wish a lot of people that I love and care about would be a little bit more like me and willing to step after something that looks good. And if it fails, it fails.
Yeah.
Once somebody told me that there's a long hallway, and it's dark and it's full of doors. But all those doors are unlocked, and you unlock a door, and you can look in for a minute, and you can shut that door, or you can step into that room for a minute and reap whatever's in that room, and you have the ability as a grown adult to step out whenever you need to. But if we don't go down that alley and be willing to open the doors and willing to jump in a few things, then we are letting fear dictate us from even going down the hall.
Wow, exactly. And I always tell people, risk is the ledge that gives winners the edge. And actually, risk is the currency of true opportunity
Yeah,
and
faith
success,
too.
right? So, anyway, but hey, I tell you, and I love what you said also, because I posted on Facebook a couple of days ago, and that stop using people to build your business and use your business to build people, because when you use your business to build people, then now people can build that business and any other business, and they'll always be grateful to you, but you can't stop and hinder your success, because now you've created massive momentum and duplication. So I love your philosophy on that. Well, then, Thomas, if somebody asks you today, okay, we got about 20, no, let's see, about 10 minutes left. If somebody asks you, Thomas, okay, I heard your story. Man, that's great, Thomas. I'm inspired. But what about me? Maybe what could I do, or what are you doing now? What would you tell me if I wanted to make an extra 9,000 or 90,000 in the next 90 days? Now, those who started with me, this is day 58. But again, there's some people that's brand new, they're starting today, so their 90-day could start today, right? But some of
Right.
us, we started, this is day 58. And Thomas, just again, just crazy thing. I do some crazy out of the box things. So when I came up with this concept, because again, the only thing better than AI is IA, and IA stands for inspired action. So as soon as I got the thought, I launched it, like you said. I didn't know it. I just launched it. Let me put up a Facebook group and just do it, right? And so I said, but what I'm going to do is the Bible teaches this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. So I'm also going to be praying and fasting for the people going through the challenge, that God would open up their eyes to opportunities, or that God would just do something. Again, when God does his super, he usually does it when we do our natural. So I tell people, work like it all depends on you, and pray and trust and believe like it all depends on God, right? But
Right.
sometimes he'll do something like that, but he don't do that like that until after we've been struggling doing this thing, and then all of a sudden, bam, right? So I've actually been fasting for the people too, and praying. And so, folks, I hope that your spirit is open to this. He's about to drop some nuggets and some powerful information. So, what would you tell the person that says, Thomas, help me, I want to make an extra 9K to 90?
Absolutely. Well, for one, I would probably go right into introducing him to the one of the businesses that I'm in now, and
Go
that
ahead. What is it? Come on,
Okay,
tell us.
okay. I didn't know how deep you want me to go there, but there it is, Texit
Hey,
Coin. So we have a United States-based coin that checks all of the boxes, and that is up 1,100 over 1,100% year to date. And we are the goose that lays the golden egg. And so I tell them to buy yourself a goose and start to figure this out with me. And we'll have a bunch of gooses laying golden eggs within our team, and we'll just have a pile of golden eggs. But that's really, for me, is to get their feet wet so that they then understand how powerful what we have is, without trying to sell them on the total information. But we are creating a cryptocurrency that's United States based, and we are fired up about it. It's a very, very easy, no frills, no gotchas thing, because we have an owner that is transparent, that has never done network marketing before. So it really isn't. It is so unique and so wonderful. And then I also tell people, we must leave our past behind,
come on.
to move forward, because there is new things developing with new administrations, new things going on in the world. We've never seen a time like this. I believe that if you can't make $1 million in this world, that there's a problem going on, that we need to help you with those breakthroughs, that we need to introduce you to a Christ that will bury your sins into the sea so that you don't remember them.
Come on.
A guy like me who smoked crack for 15 years of his life is no longer in that for 25 years, because I turned my life around with a man named Jesus Christ, and then opportunity keeps coming into my life. And because during the time I'm helping people get sobriety, society all the time, helping people with meet Christ all the time, but I'm helping people to build a future with a very, very small investment, with a very simple plan, with a coin that's already producing and has a plan. So this coin, this blockchain, this owner has a plan. I'm just grabbing a hold of his coattail and dragging along, kind of like grabbing a hold of Jesus and saying, "Hey, guide the way, because I don't know my way." And so that's all I'm doing here is I'm being guided, and I really do go back to the basics of I don't have to be the expert, but
Come
I
on.
am willing to get out in front. Because I say a leader is willing to take a few lumps, because you know that I'll do presentations like I'm doing one tonight at 6 o'clock. Well, no, Carl's doing it tonight. He's better than me. See, I'm doing that tonight. I don't have to do it. Carl's doing it. But Carl's going to do that presentation tonight that anybody can come on and see the full presentation, and I'm sure you're going to post that.
Yes.
I'm on that team with Dr. Breakthrough. So how can you lose then? We here's what I know is that somebody else's great idea I was able to tap into, and I'm going to drain everything that I possibly can for my family's future with it.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So again, let me just do this for everybody. And again, we always give a disclaimer. There's no guarantee of success. This information and testimonial that I want to ask Thomas to give here in just a minute should not be considered a promise of your results. Everyone's results may vary based on many things. So we can only promise an equal opportunity for all who apply themselves. And quite frankly, the way this works, you talk about equal. So Thomas, give them an idea. Have you made 9K in at least in the last 9 months? And do you have any people on your team that you've been able to point and help them? So share that. I'm gonna block out for a minute and surprise you, but go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, I absolutely have. I more than have. Okay. So, and many other people have, and that's solid truth. So, including my personal assistant, who just has a testimony from, that's off the charts. When you have an employee of yours making 9,000 over 9,000 in 90 days, that's exciting stuff. For myself, I maxed out this comp plan to a $3,000 mark. I made $3,000 in my first 6 hours. And then every single day I'm making passive money with the coin. And that's, accumulated in 18 weeks. So in 18 weeks, just the passive side has accumulated into over 30,000. But I personally, on just one pay center in 18 weeks, if you take 3,000 times 18, well, you do the math there, and we're doing pretty spiffy. The beautiful thing is that was the starting place. I can make more money than that if I want to. But 3,000 a week is an under promise and an over deliver. And I promise you that both I and Mr. and Dr. Breakthrough could show you the way to that success.
Okay, look, look what I had to do.
We are twins. Twins. I'm just about 200 pounds more.
Oh my goodness. But isn't that powerful, folks? Did you hear what he just said? And so again, you basically been in this, 4 months now, or a little less than 4 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 18 weeks. This is the 18th week. Yeah.
Wow. And so when you can, and see, folks, this is the powerful thing also. When you can empower, like I said, have an assistant, empower her or them to make money as well, empower family members, empower friends. And yeah, we know there's scams and schisms and isms and all that kind of stuff out there. And but the key is, my friend, if you find somebody that you trust, right? And you might not fully trust the concept, but if you know somebody that you trust and they've done their due diligence, then that helps you to at least to step in. And then once you step in, like for instance, I got a package when the coin was like $1.03. And here it is, I think 6 weeks later, it's like $1.95. I'm like, that.
Right.
Like,
I was 42 cents when I started. Yeah.
No, wait, 42 cents?
Yeah.
Thomas, you didn't call me. Okay, all right. So
yeah, right.
Right. So folks, but do you understand? Like I bought Bitcoin when it was $208 a coin. My preacher friends, they thought I was linking up with the Antichrist, right? They was like,
right.
Harris, you lost it, man. And then when it hit $19,000 a coin, they started calling me the profit, Prophet, of profit, Profit, right?
Nice, nice.
But
Profit or
but if I
profit.
could go, but if I can go back to the when it was $208 and buy more, would I buy more? Of course I would. So if Thomas had an ideal or that it would be where it is now, to go back when it was at 40, he would have figured out how to get more if he could. What I'm saying to you is this, my friend, this is an opportunity that I would love to work with you on. Now, here's the key. Thomas, would you be willing to be now, I tell people they call me in Japanese term sensei, teacher, instructor because of martial arts. But a lot of people I work with, they call me their financial sensei. But would you be one of the financial senseis to help financial coaches to help and assist? Because you had to get you a coach to get started with this, right? You had a mentor, a coach, right?
I would duplicate what I've done, and that is literally to get that first 6 hours that I made the first 3,000. Literally did that by picking up the phone and calling Carl. I didn't talk to nobody. I said, hey, talk to him. Sent a video, talk to him. Sent a video, talk to him. Sent a video, talk to him. And yes, I would love to serve anybody, whether you affect me money wise or non money wise. We are one big team here, and I tell people test the transparency of this company
Come on.
to anything you see out there in the world. Anything you see out there in the world, tell me after a Tuesday night call with Bobby Gray if you don't trust and feel the same feelings that I feel and the same discernment that I felt from the first week that I got in. And that changed everything. Once I got the belief, like when I get the belief in Christ, I can keep talking to you like I'm a superstar, and I ain't nothing. I'm just Tommy D. They call me Tommy Boy sometimes. We let them get away with that because we like to have a lot of fun. But I will tell you that once you get the belief, try us, test it. Come see. But when you hear from Bobby Gray, and that did it for me. When I met him in Vegas, that totally did it for me. When we were at the Bitcoin convention, but when you get the belief, you come, you test, you get. It's kind of like going to try a church. Come sit in the back row for a minute with me. I don't care if you smell like smoke or you smell like alcohol. Actually, I hope you do, because I'm gonna because if so, you're being real with me, and I want you to be real with me so that I know how to serve you and how to help you. And once you're real with me, and we can get honest with each other, and I can tell you about my past and how that life was turned around, I can do the same thing in business. I can show you how my life turned around with my story to your people. And just like I share my story with getting sober through Christ, and nobody was getting this guy sober. Trust me, everybody tried every way. I tried every way, but my relationship with Christ and a 12-step program did get me sober.
But God, come on now. By the way, I always tell people I was just a nobody that God and I made into a somebody. And now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do
Yes.
the same and a whole lot more for anybody. So, folks, and that's what we want to help you with. So, again, let's do this. So, folks, listen, let me watch this one. So, Thomas, when you started this business, um, did you start with the knowledge of, well, of course, you had great success before, so that helps. But did you start with the knowledge of, I think I'm going to do this much in this time frame, or did you just start? You just kind of just started. I mean, did you have a number that you had in mind, or you just started?
Okay, so on this one, I'll be honest. I went to my hot market right away. Said you got to see this. You can't miss this. You got to see this. Let me know if you see what I see. Okay, that type of thing is how I started. My belief wasn't quite there yet,
Okay.
and I had, because of this industry being such a up and down roller coaster. And I know many on here is listening, going, "Oh no, not that industry." Okay, I get it. So that's why I was like, here, see, I didn't mind investing my money into something or putting my portfolio into something, but I
Right.
wasn't going to share that with anybody else anymore because I didn't want the responsibility of others. I
Exactly.
had to get to that point. But I tell you, I got to that point by plugging in and not I didn't look at it. halfway. I said, I got to figure this out. I want to know exactly what's going on. And then it just took a Tuesday or a Thursday night call with Bobby Gray here. And it's whatever it takes for you to make that switch. It might be something that Dr. Breakthrough says. It might be something Carl says. Greg Knox says things to me sometimes that just blow my mind. And then all of a sudden I got this belief that's off the charts because he's a numbers guy. He's a note writing numbers guy, and so is Carl, but Greg does it in a different way. It's just kind of different. And so
Right.
when down to earth people that love Christ, and I know that they really, really do, that they're praying for success for their family.
Come on.
How about a group of people that are praying for success for your family too? And there you go.
There you go. So you really didn't have a number set aside. You just was but then as you started getting in, it just started exploding. Can you share
Right.
a couple other stories you shared about your assistants? Share a few other stories of people maybe that you've been able to help who got started. Because I heard a testimony the other day of a lady. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Miss Sarah. So yeah, Miss Sarah is a grandma that paid off all of her bills. She's flying out to Thailand in a month to visit some of her team out there, and she is living a lifestyle today as grandma. She'd kill me for ages, but a grandma. And then Andrea, my assistant, buying a car, getting a new phone on an emergency basis, all of these things that I'll be honest, she might have asked me for as her boss. She
Right.
might have said, "Can I get a draw?" or something like that, and she won't. Matter of fact, now we have a relationship that's so close to partnership that I hope that she feels that way. Yes, does she still need the hours from me? But truth be told, soon it'll be a choice of hers whether she works for me or not
Wow.
because Texit Coin's providing so much. And then we have just Coach Bud leaving his job, just everybody. I mean, we're talking about in less than 18 weeks.
Wow.
All of these testimonies are happening. It's not small. When you add 3,000 a month to your portfolio, most people can walk away and go full time here. Now we're not telling you to do that. I'm
Right.
just saying, well, what about that 3,000 being a week? Now you have choices that you didn't have in life. Most people won't take that 3,000 and multiply it times 4 because that's 12,000 a month. Come on now. Now your pastor likes you a little more because you're
Come
tithing
on.
on 12,000.
Come on.
I ain't kidding.
Yes.
Once a pastor said to me, he says, "You know what, Tom? If you share, because I was worried about sharing network marketing, I didn't want to be one of those guys. Came into my church, shared network marketing with them all, and da 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 da." And he says, "You know what? Yeah, it'll just break my heart to have a bunch of six-figure income earners sitting in my pews. Come on."
Wow. Come on. Hey, by the way, folks, I always tell people if you like network marketing, man, you'll love the Texit Coin.
That's right.
Don't like network marketing. If you hate network marketing, you're really going to love Texit Coin because really, my friend, Bobby Gray did a powerful little 3-minute message how it technically isn't really the
Right.
network marketing, but
I came from network marketing,
yes,
but Texit Coin is not network marketing.
it's more of a collaborative effort. As a matter of fact, in a nutshell, what I tell people is Warren Buffett said, "You'll work until you die unless you learn to make money in your sleep." And Thomas, when I married my beautiful wife Nadia years ago, I call her my ABCD, adorable brown caramel delight. She blew me away because she said, "Baby," now when a man marries a beautiful woman, he knows it's going to cost him, and I gladly pay, right? But she said, "Baby, we don't ever want to spend money." I was like, "Well, what?" She said, "We only want to circulate money." I was like, "That sounds good, but what does that mean?" She said, "When you spend money, it's gone forever, never to return." She said, "But when you circulate money, money goes out and money comes back, a never ending cycle of
Yep.
increase and enjoyment." And when I spoke at the Texas Coin meeting, I said to myself, because years ago I said then, "That's true, baby. From now on, we're going to look for ways to circulate the money that God allows us to be stewards of, because it's not our money. We're
Right.
stewards and we're supposed to be producing more than." But anyway, I said, okay. So when I spoke for that and I heard, I was like, oh my goodness, this is another way of circulating the money. And not only that, folks, I teach people you've worked long and hard enough for your money. It's now time for you to put your money to work for you. So, let me see here. So let me show you if that pulls up here. Here we go. So here's a little diagram. I don't know if you can see this. So embrace success by hiring your money to work for you. so you won't struggle by working for it. And by the way, if you go to whytexit.com, there's a short little video you can watch. But see the guy at the top? That's like Thomas, myself, Carl, a bunch of other folks, and soon to be some of you. At the bottom are other folks, and what I used to be, working hard for money. And that thing was dragging me. But now, my friend, it's a totally different story. And so, listen, you have an opportunity. And I'm just telling you, my friend, in this group, how to make extra 9K to 90K. I'm bringing you different people with different expertise. But this is a gentleman that's giving you some expert advice, because you know what? He taught you how you can become duplicatable and be a CLO, Chief Leveraging Officer, by pointing and getting paid. Thomas, how would you like to close out?
My love for this is that there's so many people looking at this industry that have afraid of technology, afraid of something, afraid of whatever. How about joining a community of fun, like-minded people and learn about it step by step? See, back in the days when I first got my success, I had this little flip phone. Okay, it was red. It fit right in my front pocket. I loved it. And that flip phone was my money maker, boy. And I wasn't afraid to use it, afraid to call. Now that turned into this, and I said, I'll never need a smartphone. I'll never buy a smartphone. I don't need all that junk on my phone. Well, all that I did with that ignorant statement was be 2 years late on technology. Technology's not waiting for us, folks. So come on board and let's learn together. I have learned more. I have been in the cryptocurrency, the blockchain space since 2015. I have learned more in the last 18 weeks about how it really works and how it really runs. And so as a new person, Bobby is shining towards you to teach you and to help you to be on board and not just see how it works, be a part of how it works with us and grow with us. Everybody should, if there is nothing else but to get educated in this space, if there is nothing else but to get educated in this space, it would be worth taking a look at Texit Coin.
Wow. Well, hey, I tell you, that's powerful. Thank you so much, Thomas. You're giving so many practical things, so many powerful things. And folks, Napoleon Hill said it best: unsuccessful people take a long time to make up their mind and then change quickly. He says successful people, we make up our mind quickly and then change slowly, if ever. So it's the start that stops most people. Don't let the start stop you. You want to get back to me or whoever gave you this information, my friend, and get started with them, because there's some other people in this group that are part of this as well. And we all work together as a family, as a team. So let me give you one little bit of advice as a close out, and that is this, because he's right. Myron Golden the other day, he talked about this internal resistance that people have. When you talk about money, you talk about crypto, you talk about things that are different. There's this internal resistance that we got to learn to break through. Well, listen carefully. Here's one of the things that I taught a lady, Thomas. She heard me speak for this other company. And when she heard that, she looked me up online. She said, I'm going to follow you and do whatever you're doing. And she said, and I said, well, what did I say? I need to say that again. I was like, right now. And she said, you said you got to be committed to the process. And you said it's a process of being bad, feeling bad, and even looking bad for as long as it takes to get good. She said, if you're committed to looking bad, feeling bad, and quote unquote doing bad, you said you can get good at anything. And she said, when I heard that, she said, I said, that's it. That's all I need. And folks, that's what I'm telling you. So it may be a little process, but guess what? Allow the process to be working for you while you're learning. And I've never seen something where you earn even faster than you learn. And
Really?
then the more you earn, the more you burn, the faster you learn. Is that right, Thomas? So tonight, if you've seen this live,
winning.
Join Thomas. What is it? 7:00 tonight Central.
7 Centrals. Yep. 6 Mountain.
6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I'll put that in the chat. You'll have that. So again, Thomas, thank you so much. Thomas DuBois. Did I say that right?
Yes. Yes.
All righty.
Thank you for having me so much.
The brother like no other. too
I
blessed to be
appreciate it.
depressed, too blessed to be stressed, too glad to
Amen.
be sad, too anointed to be disappointed, too elated to be agitated, too legit to quit, too grounded to be confounded, too grateful to be hateful, too gifted to be restricted, too good to be withstood, watch this, and too saved not to be getting paid.
Come on. Come on. I
Business is
love it.
booming
Amen.
and crypto is zooming, and you're making a difference in a lot of people's lives. So thank you again, Thomas, for what you're doing, bringing value to the marketplace. And Billy Graham said it best: the next move of God, he said, will happen in the marketplace. And folks, we want you to be part
We're
of it.
watching it.
God bless you.
God
Thank you.
bless you. Thank you.